A large police operation in Spain ends with crashing raids and eye-popping seizures. But beyond the drama and the fancy show and tell, this probe reveals more proof of the Mexican invasion of Europe. Of course, the Sinaloa Cartel was there, setting up shop in such a key strategic region. To ignore this gateway to the huge European market would just be gross negligence on their part. The mob reporter here with news of a luxury roundup in Spain of an alleged Mexican crime family linked to the Sinaloa Cartel, the organization once led by the notorious El Chapo. And what they were doing in Spain tells us a lot about how the underworld operates. For starters, it's a clear reminder that without assistance from people in the upper world, the players in the underworld wouldn't get nearly as far, nearly as fast. Let me tell you about it. The visuals of this operation tell one story: palatial homes, rolling estates, fleets of luxury cars, jewelry, and acres of property all seemed primary targets for the 200 officers with Spain's national police and the tax agency in 3 regions of Spain: Madrid, 40 miles east of the capital in Guadalajara, and 300 miles due south on the southern coast in Malaga. The operation was announced on June 4, 2022. Investigators say the target was a crime family from Mexico linked to the Sinaloa Cartel. They relocated to Spain in 2020, backed by $10.5 million in cash and gold to ensure a smooth transition. The integration of Mexican crooks into Spain was likely easier on a surface level than for gangsters from, say, Eastern Europe. They speak Spanish after all, but they still attracted attention. Somebody noticed the sudden influx of citizens from Sinaloa moving into mansions and buying luxury cars. And more luxury cars. They set up businesses and companies, secured warehouses and industrial space, and bought large homes. A lot of large homes. And luxury cars. Have I mentioned the cars? While speaking Spanish was helpful, it was corruption that helped the most. Officials were bribed to help with residency, documentation, registration, and even the mechanics of their operation. Investigators connected the newcomers to large pot farms around Guadalajara and other provinces and tracked suspected traffickers coming and going from the facilities. Early in the probe, police picked some of them off, seizing some 60 tons of plants. So the network shifted to hydroponics and greenhouses, tidy and professional. Their greenhouses covered more than 4,000 square meters, which is more than 43,000 square feet. That product was infiltrating legal markets for extracted CBD in Portugal and Switzerland, authorities said. What needed more secrecy was the coca paste arriving from South America by mules. Those are people acting as secret couriers, not literal mules. And this is where the cartel expertise really came in handy. Processing in clandestine labs is something of a specialty, and the output was moved on to Dutch, Croatian, and Chinese gangsters to do what they do best with it. We can see some of that here, pressing bricks and adding their in-house silkscreen branding, in this case a bootleg Ferrari logo. They tried to reflect a faux version of the luxury lifestyle the alleged organizers were living for real. The cars and houses and cash that police seized made a sumptuous display. They were making out like bandits, which, if the allegations are true, they were. Rolls-Royce, Lamborghini, Range Rover, Porsche, Mercedes, BMW, Cadillac, Audi, although strangely I'm not seeing a Ferrari. Maybe their silk-screening handiwork tainted that brand in their eyes, or maybe I'm just not seeing it. This openly opulent lifestyle was all made possible by the cartel's soft landing in Spain. It wasn't the typical immigrant experience, and that required corruption. The network used companies in Spain, Colombia, Switzerland, and Portugal to launder their money, police say. The numbers from the operation look like this: 24 suspects arrested, 21 addresses raided, 1,000 kilos of weed and 37 kilos of coke seized, 2 clandestine labs dismantled, and 20 bank accounts frozen. Guns were found too, 3 submachine guns and a bunch of pistols. Officers seized the luxury goods that are considered the proceeds of crime. They valued it at 6 million euros, which is about $7.5 million US dollars. It included jewelry, 17 vehicles, 4 homes, and more than 105,000 euros in cash. The probe was codenamed Operation Papaver. That's a curious choice, because that usually refers to poppies, the flowers from which opium is derived. We all associate the Sinaloa Cartel with cocaine, and for good reason. That's the commodity that pumped the Mexican crews into underworld superpower status. El Chapo's personal roots, though, were in weed. He started out helping his dad's grow op, and it remains on the cartel's menu. The Sinaloa Cartel, after all, are polydrug masters. El Chapo is no longer calling the shots for the cartel. He was finally arrested and extradited from Mexico to the United States, where he was found guilty. With El Chapo now in prison, serving a life sentence, his cartel is allegedly in the hands of El Mayo, whose real name is Ismael Zambada Garcia. El Mayo was one of El Chapo's right-hand men. He has at least one good thing going for him. Despite his long history in the trade, facing 5 serious U.S. federal indictments and a $15 million bounty on his head, he's never spent a day in jail. That's what you call a charmed life. On the downside, his son wasn't as lucky. He was arrested and ended up cooperating with U.S. officials. He even testified against El Chapo at the boss's trial in Brooklyn in 2019. In his riveting testimony, he said that El Chapo's bribery budget was $1 million a month. That kind of money can open a lot of doors. Whether it's under El Chapo or El Mayo, if the Sinaloa Cartel has its hooks in your country, you best be on your toes. These cats are voracious. Not that this is the first incursion by Mexico's cartels into Spain. For years, various Mexican cartels have sent emissaries and operatives there, trying to yank business away from the Colombian cartels. The Sinaloa Cartel was an early favorite. As a sign of Spain's importance to El Chapo, he sent his own cousin as his representative, Jesus Gutierrez Guzman. His efforts there were cut short, though. One of the deals Jesus hammered out, finalized at this meeting in a Madrid hotel, ended up being with undercover agents posing as Italian mobsters.
And it appears we have come to an agreement today.
Que aparentemente hemos llegado a un acuerdo hoy.
And hopefully it's the first agreement of many.
Oh sure, Jesus got 346 kilos of coke to Spain in 2012, but he delivered it right to the FBI. He was arrested soon after, we see that here, and put on trial in New Hampshire and sentenced to 16 years. But a network of corrupted officials remained. Whether the same people were in play this time around, or if it's a new generation of bought and paid for officials and white-collar workers, the result is the same. But what makes a huge difference is whether they are there at all. Without willing or willfully blind professionals, officials, and other supposedly legitimate workers, the underworld just wouldn't be what it is today. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe.